The Humble Indie Bundle is over, and they've raised a bunch of money. This is Indie Spotlight. Welcome to Indie Spotlight, where we take indie video game news, trailers, and new releases and give them to you so you can nom nom on them like zombies. As usual, the first thing we're going to be looking at are trailers, and the first one that we have for you this week is One Finger Death Punch. One Finger Death Punch is a silver dollar game coming out most likely for Xbox Live Indie Games, as most of them always do. It's basically a game where you play as a stickman and you're fighting off hordes of enemies, and it looks really freaking sweet. I've always liked Flash animations that had to deal with stickmen, like the Castle series or the Shock series. Those are really awesome animations, and to see it put into a video game, and it looks like you can control what those animations usually do, looks really awesome, and I'm really excited to try it out. The next trailer that we have for you this week is Shadow of the Game. of the game is looking to be a single-player RPG game, kind of like Final Fantasy in the old days. The idea is that you are playing a single-player RPG, but within the game you're playing an MMO online game. So the idea is really weird. I'm not sure if that means that other people are going to be playing with you in this so-called MMO, or if you're going to be playing with NPCs that are supposed to be acting as if they're humans. It's an interesting concept, and we'll have to see how it spans out. The game will be released in 10 episodes, released one each week. So I think that's actually a good way of doing episodic content. Instead of doing one episode here and then a year later having another episode, or even months later, doing it week by week actually sounds like a really good idea to keep people playing the game for 10 weeks. So, all right, and the final trailer that we have for you this week is Chain. Is looking to be another old style RPG type game. Basically it's coming out for Xbox Live Indie Games in 2013, and the main story, as you saw, is about a man named Joel, and it's about his escape from fate in the hands of gods. So we'll have to see how epic that actually turns out. Alright, now that we're done with trailers, we're going to move on to the news of the week. The first bit of news that we have for you this week is that the Humble Indie Bundle 5 is done. You can no longer buy it, and it raised a bunch of money. To be exact, it sold almost 600,000 copies, and it raked in over $5 million. That is amazing, and I cannot express how great that is to hear for the indie scene. The next bit of news that we have for you is that a new image leaked from the creators of Limbo Playdead of their possible next game. We'll show you the picture here. It looks like it's going to be something very similar to what Limbo was, with that kind of dark and dismal look to it. It's going to be another 2D side-scroller, but they said that it's actually going to have 3D elements. So it might be going along the lines of something like Shadow Complex or Super Mario Brothers, the new Super Mario Brothers, in that it's going to be like that 2.5D where you're moving in two-dimensional space, but the game itself is in a three-dimensional space. I am extremely excited. I loved Limbo. It was a great game, and I cannot wait to see what they have up next. The final bit of news that we have for you is that Indie Game the Movie is now available for download over on Steam. It's $8.99 over there to purchase on Steam, and I cannot recommend enough that you go and download it and watch the movie. I finally had a chance to go and watch the movie myself, and oh my whippersnap, that was amazing. I cannot express how much you need to go and watch that movie. Seeing each developer go through their triumphs and their tribulations and come out on top is such a heartwarming story, but at the same time, you see how much they struggled to get there. If you want to get into video game development, I suggest you take a look at this film, because it will give you a very real look at what it takes. Definitely go and download it and take a look at it. Well, that does it for the news this week. We are now going to move on over to see what games are out. The first on the list is Applejack 2. It's an Xbox Live indie game. The first one was released about 2 years ago, I want to say, at this point, and I reviewed it back then, and it was a phenomenal game. I definitely recommend playing the first one. I'm very excited to play the second one. It's definitely a great side-scrolling platformer, one that I don't think has gotten enough recognition, so definitely go and check it out. The second bit of news that we have for you is that you can go and download a trial of an upcoming Xbox Live indie game called 2012. Basically, the entire idea is that it's a two-dimensional puzzle game that's based around the Mayan end-of-the-world conspiracy. Yes, I said conspiracy. The final bit of news that we have for you is that you can now go and download a beta for a game called Gateways. Gateways is basically going to be a Portal type game in two-dimensional space, but they've really ramped up what exactly happens with the game. Instead of just going into one portal and coming out the next, sometimes they actually have different attributes. So you go into one, you come out the other, but you're much smaller or much bigger. You can go in one, come out the other, and you're walking on walls or the ceilings. The other way that you can manipulate these portals is to go in through one and come out the other at a different point in time, allowing you to do puzzles that will allow you to move back and forth through time. So it's actually a really cool idea. I like that they're trying to take the portal thing and make it something unique and different. I'm not so sure how well it's going to do in regards to Portal being a big company type of game, so we'll see if they get in any trouble. But as of right now, you can go and download the beta. It's like $10. It sounds really cool. And that does it for this week of Indie Spotlight. As always, if you have any news, if you have a trailer, a new release, or anything in regards to indie video games, you can hit me up over on Twitter at twitter.com/Dazerin, or you can head over to VBGTV at twitter.com/VBGTV. You can follow me, and then I'll follow you, and then you'll make cupcakes for me, and I'll make cookies for you, and it'll be awesome. Anyway, thanks for watching this episode of Indie Spotlight. We will see you next week when we talk more indie news, and I have to save my girlfriend from an evil little turtle thing. As usual, first thing we're going to be looking up is One Finger Death Punch is going to be a Silver Dollars game, Xbox Live indie. Five Finger Death Punch. That's not it. And that does it for this week of Indie Spotlight. Twitter.com/BBGTV. We can start interacting like we're in a little circle of friends, and we get really close, and then